Stay with us.
The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic Super Male Vitality formula. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose.
I jump out of bed ready to fight these criminals every day. I look forward to waking up and taking my Super Male Vitality.
Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from InfoWars Life. Aging starts at the cellular level. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries. During that period, key patented compounds have focused on mitochondrial growth, nerve growth, and rejuvenation. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. We now have the synergistic solution, DNA Force, just one of the key compounds. BioPQQ is backed by major clinical studies and over 175 PubMed-listed published studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones.
We've got doctor, he's also a lawyer and professor, Francis Anthony Boyle, joining us. He was already on 2 days ago, but I was listening to the interview while I was taking care of things at home in the office that day and working on some investigations, and I thought, man, I got to have him back for a second interview. There's so much to cover. We're going to him in just a moment. Obviously, there is a big concern out there, and people are starting to panic over Ebola because the government has acted so ineptly and has left the border open, let the flights come in. This medical doctor was sick and going to bowling alleys and A trains, that's the packed rush hour subways, and to restaurants and cabs. This is getting really bad. It looks like a fake narrative to me that everybody that has it is healthcare workers, that they're just picking fake people to say that they have it so they can put out their PR. That may not be it, but we have medical doctors that we've talked to on record and off record listing the hospitals where openly they are disappearing people that have Ebola-like symptoms. So we're going to follow that over the weekend. I have some big news on that on Monday. Look for special alerts and video reports over the weekend at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. I will assure you, this is not the type of off-the-chart ratings I like to have. In fact, we have the biggest audience, the most traffic we've ever had. to Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, to the podcast, the live streams, the video feeds. It's just off the chart right now because we're breaking so much because the rest of the media is pretty much controlled to a great extent, or they're ignorant. DrudgeReport.com is linking to our article with top Border Patrol medical doctor by name who is under a lot of fire right now. They're threatening to fire him on Monday. He'll be back on with us. He says he feels fine. That's fine. He's had all these doctors all over the country call him, and doctors in his town that know him, and doctors at the hospital called and thanked him and said, yes, it's Ebola. We think it was Ebola, and you're right. They're disappearing people. But then they're like, don't say my name. It's going to come out, okay? But he's like, hey, if it's Ebola and they're covering it up, fine, fire me. He manages several hospitals, several medium-sized clinics. He's not at the Truman Center. That's a different company. That's where he did his internship. So that's going on. We're going to go to Dr. Boyle here in a moment on the providence of Ebola because he did author the U.S. Biological Weapons Treaty that was adopted at the UN. And he went through the big top globalist PhD program. They only get one PhD a year out of at Harvard, the Kissinger PhD. Which they only give to top people they want to make super gophers, or legates, I would call them. And so he's got the inside scoop on how they operate and how they work, and he's been basically saying this stinks to high heaven. We'll talk to him in a moment. Quite frankly, we had quite a stockpile of Survival Shield X2 and regular Survival Shield because I got tired of selling out of it. But that stockpile is selling out, and we may get into a point where we don't even have it. Because a lot of folks know what it does for your body's natural defenses and health and just overall wellness. The things it's done for me. DNA Force has the BioPQQ and the CoQ10, the organic sources, and a lot more. Nothing's a silver bullet, not even our colloidal silver that's called silver bullet. But you want to bolster your immune system, obviously. That's what I'm doing. Sunlight, purified water, rest, staying away from areas like subways. If this continues to break out, I've been saying I hope it doesn't get big and don't think it would, but I just underestimate the fact that maybe they want a big crisis, maybe they want to sell vaccine, I don't know. But if you want to get your Survival Shield X2 or the Lung Shield, the Lung Cleanse, that is a whole bunch, dozens of essential oils and herbs concentrated. It's not like other throat sprays that are real thin and just some menthol. This stuff is really thick, so you got to clean out the spray nozzle after you use it a few times because it'll clog up. I mean, it's so thick. And I put 3 shots in my mouth, and then I inhale a little bit. That's what Dr. Group recommends. Again, none of this is a silver bullet for anything. It's just super high-quality supplements. If you don't have vitamin C, you get scurvy. So, eat your oranges. All of that boosts your immune system. Garlic. I had a whole bunch of garlic with my eggs this morning, and I don't care if, folks don't like my breath. That's what I'm doing. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139, and I would secure your Survival Shield X2 or original Survival Shield Nascent Iodine today. And again, it's not like the really horrible tasting stuff that'll kill you they sell at the store that's for topical. And it's not like the other stuff that's mixed with alcohol and binds with it. Our iodine turns electric purple blue on paper because it's pure iodine from Crystal Source. Doesn't turn black on paper. It's real nascent iodine, the pure thing, not some byproduct derivative. So, again, Survival Shield X2, InfoWarsLife.com, and your purchase helps support the broadcast and the First Amendment here. All right. Professor Francis Anthony Boyle is a leading American expert in international law. He was responsible for drafting the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of '89, the American implementing legislation for the '72 Biological Weapons Convention. He served on the board of Doctors of Amnesty International and represented Bosnia and Herzegovina at the World Court. He serves as a legal advisor to President delegation to the Middle East peace negotiations in '91-'93. He delivered the Bertrand Russell Peace Lectures. Professor Boyle teaches international law at the University of Illinois. Champaign is the author, and I'm not going to go over all of his books that he's written, dozens of them. He holds a Doctor of Law, magna cum laude, as well as a PhD in political science, both from Harvard University. And his most recent book, Destroying Libya and World Order, The 3 Decades U.S. Campaign to Terminate the Gaddafi Revolution, available at Amazon.com. We appreciate him being so available the last few days. Thank you for coming on. What is your take on what's happening with Ebola, sir?
Well, thank you for having me on, Alex. And just one point of clarification, that Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act that I did draft is on the Federal Criminal Code. It was passed unanimously, my legislation, by both houses of Congress.
Yes.
And signed into law by President George Bush Sr., a conservative Republican. So it's not as if I'm doing something here at the behest of liberal Democrats. I think, as I've said elsewhere, what we're seeing there in West Africa is a result of the U.S. biosafety level for laboratories, the highest level. We have one in Guinea, one in Liberia, and one in Sierra Leone. And these labs do every type of hideous biological warfare work you could possibly imagine, including DNA genetic engineering on just about every type of agent you can possibly imagine. So it's my opinion that this is where it came from. I'm trying to figure out, precisely what type of agent we're dealing with. Today's New York Times has two variants. One, what looks like some type of hoof and mouth disease that was genetically engineered along with Ebola down at the University of Texas in Galveston. And a second type, this is in the New York Times today, you can read it.
That's right, hidden in plain view. I have the article right here. Just right. Buried this is a product of BioShield, so our bioweapon is bouncing back on us. I'm
afraid this is blowback. The second
unbelievable
weapon involved here is the National Institutes of Health. They've always been up to their nose in their eyeballs in biological warfare, and the Center for Disease Control. The second agent seems to be a genetically modified organism involving enhanced lethality, Ebola, together with the virus for the common cold.
Oh my God!
And you put the two of them together. Now,
so I mean, you're the author of our biological weapons law. You're a top expert in this. You were access to a lot of classified stuff when you did that work. You're here telling us that you've looked at this. It's hiding in plain view. And we know we have these secret bioweapons labs in Africa. That's what the African scientists are saying. The media has been attacking me for pointing out that South Africa admitted they developed this stuff. That was declassified in the mid-'90s, as you know, with Project Coast. And
the CIA work with them too, right? That's well known. Yeah.
So you're saying, in your view as an expert, you believe that this is a Western-developed bioweapon crossed with the cold, because the Army's come out. We have the report on Infowars.com today, and said they believe that it will transfer like influenza A in temperatures below 45 degrees and will go airborne this winter.
I think it's been manufactured to be airborne to some extent. Although, for your viewers, I want to make it clear, I have never had access to any type of classified information. I've never had a government security.
Only when you were in Congress working with them, because I read some of the filings on it, it just talked about, well, I guess, declassified info that you went over with them then.
That's right. Back in those days, everything was in the public record, but pursuant to Freedom of Information Act requests where you could actually get something. But these days you can't get anything, and you just have to read the press and scientific literature very carefully to find out what's going on. Yes, concerning the influenza virus, today the New York Times, I just sent you my comment on that, says that they're going to be testing out 3 types of vaccines over there, the 2 I mentioned, and a third involving the flu. And now, you have to understand, they call it vaccines, but this is simultaneously offensive, defensive work. First, you develop the biological agent itself by means of genetic engineering. In the case of Galveston, it looks like foot and mouth or something, and Ebola, enhanced Ebola. And in the case of NIH and GlaxoSmithKline, it is this